Today we'll be talking about Faye's second summer banner for the year. Sea Whale is fast approaching, so Intent Systems has brought out the Engage plus 3 houses lineup. Petra and female Alear will get their first fun seasonal alts. Making their Faye debuts though are Clanne and Goldmary, who is actually dragging along Bernadetta to the beach. They'll be our harmonic pair. We'll talk about everyone's stats and skills, plus discuss general playstyle and build ideas. First up, the 4-star focus is going to be Summer Clanne. You can get him at 4-star, 5-star rarity. For his Faye debut, Clanne's going to be a colorless infantry dagger unit. For stats, he has 38 HP, 40 attack, 46 speed, 19 defense, and 45 res. Attack super boon is nice if you want to bump up Clanne's damage. A bit of an unusual stat spread, Clanne will actually tie Yukimura for highest res dagger in the game. There aren't many high res daggers with this much speed as well, but obviously Clanne is sacrificing physical bulk. For old skills, Clanne has the Trusty Moonbow special. He then has 2 top tier fodder skills with attack and speed finish 3 and speed and defense tempo 3. Both are hard to get and have amazing tier 4 upgrades. For his inheritable dagger, Clanne has the Small Spade plus, 12 might, if above 25% HP, grant plus 5 attack and speed. The user then gets extra attack and speed for every ally within 3 rows or 3 columns that have higher than 55 attack or higher than 40 speed. If 3 allies meet those conditions, that's an extra plus 15 attack and speed for plus 20 total. In addition, this weapon has breath type cooldown. So we just got a second arcane dagger, and that weapon can potentially grant up to plus 14 to all stats. It has slaying and times pulse, 30% DR, and no follow-up for outspeeding. I don't think this spade is going to top that. However, compared to other inheritable options, the most attack and speed you could get previously was plus 5. This thing can give plus 5, 10, 15, or 20 attack and speed, which is pretty insane. Breath type cooldown is also an excellent add-on. Now the condition for this weapon relies on having allies in the 3-row, 3-column range. They also need higher than 55 attack or higher than 40 speed. From my testing, one ally with both 55 attack and 40 speed will count as 2 instances for the weapon. This means you only need 2 allies minimum, but one of them must have high flat attack and high flat speed. Overall, as far as inheritables go, can't really be disappointed with 20 attack and speed and cooldown. There's also just not that many new inheritables outside the arcane options. For a basic build utilizing the full attack and speed weapon, try to give Clanne no follow-up. With Small Spade's cooldown and tempo, you can bypass guard and charge Moonbow in one action. A special that is ready will then trigger finish. Now the main issue is getting to the follow-up safely. Clanne has good speed, especially with this weapon, but you got 0 defensive abilities, and any distant counter unit is just going to target Clanne's low base defense, dragons included. It's not a guarantee, but what you could run Desperation for, since that is coming back. It requires Clanne to move 2 spaces when initiating though if you want to be at full HP. Otherwise, any HP loss can trigger that tier 4. Now if you want no follow-up in the C slot, Infantry no follow 4 is also useful with the Small Spade. Since it wants high attack and speed allies, Clanne could give those units no follow-up, and he'll benefit from their presence as well. Depending on how you feel about certain res thresholds, Clanne could also slot in a tier 4 ploy, another way to support the team. In regards to the new Arcane Tempest Dagger, Clanne would lose some attack and speed potential, but add defensive res, some percent DR, and no follow-up. By trading breath type cooldown for times pulse, Clanne is also in a position for instant lethality. Arcane Tempest plus times pulse plus quicken pulse is -4 cooldown. Imagine replacing quicken pulse with something like Emblem Marth. You could use Assassin Strike or a lull for pure damage, and while finish is great, you could maybe try something like Crystalline Water. It's not a guarantee, but with high base res and Tempest also stacking res, Clanne has a chance to avoid Scowl, which is the main counter to pre-charge specials. If you're okay without lethality, you could drop down to say a 2 cooldown special and then slot in skills like tier 4 ploys. Just trying to give some options besides the usual full attack and speed offensive route. Now if you want to stack resistance, there's potential for an anti-mage role. You could run skills like Guard 4, Nosy Disrupt 4, or Firefly Boost. I haven't talked about Arcane Void, but that dagger has a built-in sabotage. You could run Arcane Void with a ploy setup to double dip on the debuffs. It also has cooldown perks. Arcane Tempest and Void do give opportunities for Glacy's usage if you want to run something like Lagu's Friend. You could also do an Arcane Tempest Lagu's Friend build if you want to trigger Emblem Ike's Ring. That is one way to make a mage tanking setup a little more enticing. Overall, Summer of Clanne does bring a somewhat rare stat spread for dagger units. We don't have a lot of super high res options, and that can give him some potential for support skills or just having enough res to beat scout checks. Small Spade Plus is pretty good, but for any serious PvP, safety is the main concern with that weapon. All in all though, not a game-breaking 4-star focus unit, but interesting stats and good inheritable are about as much as you can ask for. Also, actually really top tier fodder as well. Our next summer ult goes to Petra. This time she's a flying red archer. For stats, Petra has 40 HP, 45 attack, 47 speed, 20 defense, and 24 res. She's gonna go full glass cannon for the most part and has a speed super boom. For ult skills, Petra comes with the deadly Deadeye special. She then has Desperation 4. We haven't seen this skill on another unit since the release almost a whole year ago. It basically works as soon as the user loses HP, and if you're at full health, you can trigger it if you move 2 spaces. Very powerful. Now, Petra's weapon is the Breaker Bow, which has given me a headache, not because it's complicated, but because I think it's broken, in favor of Petra. First off, the weapon has 14 might, it enables con to 1, has beast effectiveness, and accelerated specials. Petra then gets 2 space warping within 2 spaces. Very mobile. If above 25% health, she gets plus 5 to all stats and bonus attack and speed based on the same conditions Clanne's weapon had. For Petra, it's X times 6, so with 3 instances of high attack or high speed allies, Petra gets a bonus plus 18 attack and speed. For the last part, if you're using an offensive special, grants cooldown minus A before her first attack and cooldown minus B before her follow-up attack. This isn't that complex, except A equals X plus 1. We need to use the X value from earlier. Let's say X is 3, 3 plus 1, so A equals 4. However, A has a max value of Petra's cooldown value at start of combat. This is referring to the 2 cooldown Deadeye. So A has a max of minus 2 instant cooldown. For B, you do the X plus 1 again, except now you minus the same cooldown value at start of combat. So X plus 1 minus 2 for Deadeye. X has a max value of 3, so the most cooldown Petra can get is 3 plus 1 equals 4. 4 minus 2 is minus 2 instant cooldown. Similar to when Tribe Claude, Summer Petra can do back-to-back Deadeye procs, except literally back-to-back with Desperation. To do so, you must get X to be 3. If the enemy has Scowl, Petra can still proc 1 Deadeye on her follow-up because normal Scowl is for the first attack only. Against Fallen Veil's follow-up Scowl, she can also proc Deadeye if Petra's first hit lands her on 1 cooldown somehow. Minus 2 cooldown plus 1 is still minus 1 in favor of Petra. Now, the issue I've found is that the value of B is inconsistent or misleading. X has a max of 3, or at least that's what it says earlier, so X plus 1 can only equal 4 at most. With slaying Deadeye, you have to subtract 2. This means B should be minus 2 cooldown at most. I've found that somehow Petra can get higher than minus 2 cooldown. Even if I manage to keep her at 2 cooldown before the first attack or after the first attack, she somehow still charges Deadeye even against Veil's follow-up Scowl. I suspect it's possible that the X value is not being capped when used for this part of the weapon. I did even more testing, and if X is equal to 4, 4 plus 1 is 5, 5 minus 2 is minus 3 instant cooldown. Against Fallen Veil, this does proc Deadeye. I don't know if this is intended, but at the moment, you can go higher than minus 2 instant cooldown. Moving on, Petra has a new inheritable C skill, Speed and Defense Crux. Inflict minus 4 speed and defense on foes within 3 rows or 3 columns, centered on unit. Those foes also take a free follow-up attack. Crux skills are pretty strong since their debuffing zone extends across the map. They also give free follow-ups if foes are in the zone, so Crux can be useful for low speed allies or units like Petra who are fast but don't have no follow-up options. Odd Speed Wave 4 exists now, but Crux does benefit the whole team potentially. This is the first defense Crux, so if you got speedier physical damage flyers, this is the one for you. Summer Petra is a scary mobile flying archer. She has beast effectiveness, and Book 8 has a whole cast of beast units we still gotta get to, so keep that in mind. For Petra's Breaker Bow, you need high attack and speed allies in that Crux range. Petra can 2-space warp around allies, so this shouldn't be too hard to do. The more allies in her range, the more attack and speed she gets. If you have 1 ally that meets the conditions, Petra gets minus 2 instant cooldown, so she can proc her slaying Deadeye immediately. With Desperation 4, she can follow up back to back, and if Petra has 3 high attack and speed allies, she can proc a second Deadeye. We discussed that this follow-up instant cooldown is potentially bugged. At the moment, you can get more than minus 2 instant cooldown, and this is mainly only relevant to counter Fallen Veil. Now, to ensure Petra can use Desperation, she is depending on Crux's free follow-up. This can bypass 1 follow-up denial, but against 2 of them, or defense in the follow-up plus 1 denial, that will stop Petra. Ideally, she wants no follow-up, and previously this was not an option for flying archers. However, from Summer Govig, Odd Speed Wave 4 gives no follow-up if you outspeed. You could swap over, but Crux does help the whole team out. Generally speaking, full attack and speed stacking is fine here. For an A skill, Flurried Sparrow is still good because Petra can lay down the flame tiles and she has Conto 1 to retreat behind them. She's not the tankiest, but you could just do Remote Sparrow with other percent DR skills just in case Petra does take a hit. In that B slot, you could do Winter Water Sweep with no follow-up, just watch out for Nelsie Disrupt. If you want to be cheeky, Petra could do Speed Preempt. Instant Deadeye versus squish units with a bow that gives 20 plus speed, not bad. Now let's say you do give up Crux support, Petra can run guidance skills to ferry teammates around. With Soaring Echo, you could let allies warp around Petra, then Petra warps around them. You just leapfrog over and over. For the most part, Summer Petra is pretty scary unless you bring Scowl. If you don't have Fallen Veil and you can't stop Petra's follow-up, she could proc a Deadeye versus normal scaling dragons. Like Clanne, her weapon is just a ton of attack and speed, so you do gotta be careful. Watch out for her warp range as well. Our next summer unit is Summer Female Alear. Personally, I'm a fan of Ponytail Alear, but I may be an even bigger fan of that Sami Beach Ball. Now, for Summer, Female Alear will be a Colorless Infantry Dragon. For stats, she has 39 HP, 42 attack, 47 speed, 32 defense, and 38 res. She's a trainee, and her stats are fairly similar to her legendary ult. For ult skills, Alear brings Speed and Res Finish 4 and Nelsie Disrupt 4. She is ready to slap some foos around. For her weapon, Alear has the Maritime Arts, 11 might Brave Dragonstone with Accelerated Specials. If Alear is within 3 spaces of an ally, she gets plus 5 to all stats, and inflicts debuffs on the foe equal to 4, plus the number of distinct game titles among allies within 3 spaces, times 3. Have 2 allies from different games for the max minus 10 debuffs. In addition, Alear deals X true damage and gets X flat DR for the first attacks with an S. She also gets no guard. This X value is equal to 5 times the total number of different titles among allies plus the number of engaged allies. You need 3 different titles or engaged allies to get the max 15 true damage and 15 flat DR. Maritime Arts is similar to the legendary ults Dragon's Fist. Alear has the same stat bonuses and debuff mechanic. She trades 40% DR for flat DR and adds true damage with no guard. If it wasn't clear, engaged allies just means anyone with an emblem ring. When you calculate distinct game titles, this does count units with 2 titles listed. For example, a Harmonic hero with has 2 titles. If you engage them with an emblem, then that actually already fulfills the requirements for the max 15 true damage and flat DR. There is a little team comp restriction for Alear, but unless you're doing an all-team title run, it's typically not that hard to get Alear up to full power. She does need allies though, so don't keep her all alone. Next, Summer Alear is bringing over her unique special as well. For those that played Engage, you know Bond Blast is just the stronger, cooler version of Dragon Blast. In Fae, kind of the same deal, except functionally, this is kind of literally the same as Dragon Blast. This is a 3 cooldown special that deals 50% speed as damage. If Alear has their support partner on the team, Alear and that support gets DR piercing specials. If Alear is within 3 spaces of that support, and if Alear or the foe has readied or used a special, then Alear gets unpierceable 40% DR for the next attack. The only difference from Bond Blast is that if Alear doesn't have their support on the team, then she now hands out a new bonded status to the highest attack ally nearby. Bonded essentially just acts like a support partner replacement. It literally just says it's used to trigger other effects. In Alear's case, this is going to give the bonded ally DR piercing specials, and if nearby, Alear gets her damage reduction. If you wanted to use legendary female Alear on a defense team, that's exactly what Summer Alear offers. Assuming you can protect that bonded status, this could be quite scary. Last, Alear brings a new inheritable skill, Even Res Wave D. Every turn, grant plus 6 res field buffs to unit and allies within 2 spaces. If you have 5 or more res than the foe, the user gets Scowl. If it's an even turn, you get plus 6 res during combat. First off, this is the first tier 4 res wave skill, and it gives Scowl. However, unlike the previous tier 4 wave buffs from just a couple weeks ago, this one is locked to dragons only. I don't know if the devs immediately regretted letting everyone get odd speed wave 4 and odd defense wave 4, but this seems incredibly strange. I understand Scowl is powerful, but I thought they were letting loose with things like Flow Guard 4 for non-dragons. At base, these are new 2-space buffing options, so locking them out from most users is kinda dumb. At least for dragons, this is one way to get Scowl besides that A slot. However, it also means you can double stack Scowl for any dragon. Previously, you needed Scowl in your weapon, or you needed Veil. For the most part, Summer Female Alear is kinda just an upgraded version of her legendary ult, the main difference being she can share her DR piercing specials without a support partner. Combat-wise, she's still a speedy dragon who stacks a lot of stats, assuming you got different titles on your team. Alear has brave hits and no guard, so if she takes a hit first, she is guaranteed Bond Blast procs on her second attack back. Without Breath type cooldown, you won't trigger Finish 4 immediately, which means you're not going to double dip on the healing and true damage. It's okay though. Now, if you can get that cooldown for like say Pledge or something, it would allow Alear to proc Bond Blast when initiating. If you stick with even res wave D, this gives a scowl option, and no see disrupt. Naturally, the distant counter still fits right in with that. Alear will have 30% DR via her B skill, possibly unpierceable 40% via her Bond Blast, and then up to 15 flat DR from her weapon. She'll be an all-around solid unit, assuming her stats hold up. If you want to give Alear full buffing, you could opt for Distant Bonus Doubler. She's a unit who appreciates all 4 stats. In the B slot, you could swap to Counter Roar, but no see disrupt is there to handle sweep effects. High Dragon Wall would be nice with even res wave, and with Emblem Celica's ring around, any kind of war bubble effect is appreciated. Now, a big effect Alear would like is no follow-up. No surprise, it would let her quad, and not getting doubled by slow foes is nice. You could do Magic No Follow, Odd Speed Wave 4, Infantry No Follow 4, or the Sacred Seal. You got a lot of options. If you do want to double Scowl, that is also another potential build. In conclusion, Summer Alear is a solid colorless version of her legendary ult. If you see her on the enemy team, you need to watch for special focus nukers since they now have DR piercing specials. Fun unit, not too incredibly different from before, but you do got a small couple of tweaks like the flat DR. Maybe you could play around with some other flat DR sources. Just don't do Lagoo's friend with Slaying Bond Blast. Our last unit for today is Harmonic Goldmary and Bernadetta. Reminder, Bernie was a CYO 8 winner, so we'll see her again very shortly. This will be Goldmary's Fey debut though, and she's a Lance Infantry. For stats, she has 40 HP, 44 attack, 46 speed, 47 defense, and 16 res. Attack and defense super boons. We've seen this kind of Lance fighter before, but Goldmary takes things to the extreme. Most speedy, high defense Lance Infantry have like low 20 base res. Goldmary does not care about resistance at all. She shoves all her points into attack, speed, and defense, and some extra HP as well. She is the new highest defense Lance Infantry, toppling Tamara. For old skills, Goldmary is bringing in a very interesting kit. Attack and speed finish 4, always good, but then she has Godlike Reflexes and Lagoo's Friend 4. I've mentioned this combo a couple times because Lagoo's Friend can trigger GLR right before the foe attacks, and it makes the counter have DR piercing. The main concern I have with this setup is that you need to outspeed for GLR to activate, and Lagoo's Friend doesn't affect speed at all. Compared to having a dodge force skill, it's like having 11 less speed to work with. Well, Goldmary does kind of have an answer to this problem with her weapon, Diva Parasol. 16 might for foes within 3 rows or 3 columns. If they have less defense than Goldmary's defense, plus 5, then you inflict attack and speed debuffs equal to 15% of the foe's attack at start of combat. Additionally, you neutralize the foe's attack and speed field buffs. Let's stop here. So, Goldmary kinda has a crux weapon. No free follow-up support, but you get some huge attack and speed debuff potential, and it gets rid of attack and speed field buffs. Unlike Crux, which is just always active, Goldmary does need to have higher defense than the foes in range. 47 base, pretty darn good, and she gets a plus 5 defense advantage. It's almost like a ploy skill, but for in combat. Now for reference, a foe with 60 attack is going to get hit by -9 attack and speed. That is pretty sizable. For the rest of this weapon, Goldmary gets Slaying. If above 25% HP, she gets bonus stats equal to 5 plus the number of allies within 3 spaces times 3. If you have 3 nearby allies, that gets you plus 14 for all stats max. In addition, she gets true damage equal to 15% attack, inflicts guard on the foe, and heals 7 HP after combat. Generally speaking, Diva Parasol is a huge stat stick. Its combat abilities are kind of basic, it's just being Slaying, Guard, and Healing. That's not really fancy. The main part revolves around the easy plus 14 stats for Goldmary, and then the large attack and speed debuffing to all foes in the Crux range. With the GLR plus Lagoo's Friend build, Goldmary doesn't seem that threatening in terms of damage output, but she will be annoying to take down unless you can bring magic or you outspeed her. For Goldmary and Bernie's Harmonic skill, they grant plus 6 defense rise field buffs, resonant shields, bonus doubler, and bulwark to unit and allies from engage or 3 houses. Bulwark is a new status and does what the B skill does. You obstruct melee units from moving through adjacent spaces, and you obstruct ranged foes from moving through spaces within 2 spaces. If it wasn't clear already, Goldmary is kind of more about defense or survivability. She can buff the team, double up those buffs, and then Resonant Shields gives a free fall denial for 1 fight per phase. If you need to stop high movement enemies, the Bulwark effect can be good. However, Bulwark doesn't stop warping outside of charge. It's not like the latest Emblem hero is all about warping or anything and can give anyone the ability to warp far distances. That's kind of unlucky timing. That said, being able to give Bulwark to other allies from anywhere could be interesting. Ironically, if a unit with Emblem Celica were to fly in, that could be one way to utilize this Bulwark status. We got some powerful units from Engage and 3 houses, so maybe don't underestimate this skill. Last new inheritable skill for today is Even Attack Wave N. Same deal as the other tier 4 wave buffs, plus 6 attack field buff for everyone within 2 spaces. If you have higher attack than the foe's attack -5, you deal 5 true damage and heal 5 HP on hit. On even turns, you gain an extra plus 6 attack in combat. So, even attack wave N is usable by all melee units. I guess they used N to stand for near? I don't know, man. The naming guy has had a really rough year. This tier 4 wave essentially has the effects of finish 4 skills, but tied to an attack check rather than that specials being ready. I can understand something like Scowl being limited to dragons, but I do not really see why melee units only get the slightly weaker finish. This is one where it really does seem like they regret the previous wave 4s for whatever reason. For general usage, ideally you need a high attack user and someone who can hit often so you reap more true damage and more healing. Brave weapons would be fun with this since it is an attack buffer, but they have innate lower might, so you do gotta pump the numbers up a little bit. For some other uses, you can stack this with finish A skills, plus 10 true damage, plus 12 healing. In terms of self buffs, Oath 4 or Pledge are definitely solid competitors, but Wave 4s do buff your whole team. That's where some of the power goes. Harmonic Goldmary and Bernie are a bit of a strange unit. High speed, high defense lands infantry who is able to lay down attack and speed debuffs if Goldmary wins a defense check. If you got a speed focused team, Goldmary could be a nice partner who can support from far away. Now, their weapon isn't anything that crazy outside that debuffing zone, but it's mainly to enable the godlike reflexes plus Lagu's friend combo. With Slaying, GLR gets pre-charged before the enemy attacks. Assuming Goldmary outspeeds, she procs GLR for unpierceable % DR. This then is comboed with Lagu's friend's flat DR, which scales off Goldmary's actually high base defense. On the counterattack, Finish 4 and even attack wave can provide true damage and plus 12 healing. Meanwhile, Lagu's friend makes the counter have DR piercing. GLR, Diva Pair Parasol, and the Goose Friend add more true damage sources, and Goldmary heals 7 HP after all of this. If you use the Harmonic skill, you're going to get more defensive res, bonus doubler, resonant shields, and bulwark. Now, like the other units on this banner, Goldmary would like no follow-up, otherwise getting doubled by a slow unit kind of defeats the whole purpose of stacking all the speed. She also won't have GLR back up if you get doubled. While the %DR plus flat DR combo is nasty, Goldmary has much less res than defense. She has her attack debuffs and resistance from her weapon, but I don't know how well she's going to do against mages or dragons. If you need no follow-up, I honestly think swapping to Oddspeed Wave 4 may be worthwhile. You could also use the Sacred Seal or go for Infantry No Follow 4. In the C slot, you could add Breath of Life 4 or maybe something like Fatal Smoke 4 to outstall enemies. In the A slot, Finish is great, but Distant Counter and or Bonus W type skills can just further emphasize Goldmary's stat advantages. You could try Excel for extra flat DR, but when defending, you're only going to get DR against special procs. Speaking of specials, maybe there's a place for Odd Defense Wave 4. Its tempo effect with the weapon, its guard effect, could maybe prevent specials from, say, brave attacks or if Goldmary initiates first. In the seal slot, you could use something like DC, Finish, Form, Bonus Doubler, or Squad Ace for extra HP. I would say the C slot and Sacred Seal slot have a couple variations worth thinking about. In terms of specials and that B slot, well, GLR plus the Goose Friend is kind of the highlight of Goldmary. Obviously, she could do fine with something like Vital Astra or Dodge, but this is a pretty hilarious setup when it does work. Gotta say, I am surprised to see this build just show up straight on a unit out of the box. That's gonna be it for the second summer banner. Let me know your thoughts and good luck summoning. I did do some summoning myself recently. I ended up getting Emblem Celica early, so I did spend orbs getting a Summer Alear. Also got a Goldmary and some clans, so I'm pretty happy. If you aren't planning to summon, our next Temper Trials actually kicks off the Book 5 revisit. Our reward unit is summoned to do though. Not exactly excited about his class type, but I am impressed with his stats. We'll talk about the do and more next time. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.